Well, today's a big crossing down to Thistle, about 40 k's that way, and we've got a beautiful wind behind us at the moment, though it is expected to drop out, so I'm heading early, so I've got plenty of time to make it there and make the most of this wind. Quite a stunning morning. So because of this wind, haven't had breakfast yet. We're going to have breakfast on water as we just drift and sail our way down. Alright, we'll see you at Dangerous Reef. What's that? Sunrise in the water. 40 k's, here we go. So it's interesting though, I was just thinking, it's actually like a genuine survival situation when you're doing a big crossing like this, and I've willingly put myself into it. Just a bit, you know, it just sort of explains the little arm wrestle that goes on in my mind of trying to stay mentally in control of, you know, not losing grip, staying switched on, staying focused, and keeping a lid on my emotions to survive this crossing, basically. So yeah, just an interesting observation. I think we're moving pretty good, 7 or 8 k an hour, and I'm just really looking forward to landing on Thistle and drying out and probably having a swim because I'm starting to get a bit smelly. What always adds to the adventure, just setting off on a bearing 210, and you can't see land at all. You just got to trust that it's out there. I can see Thistle now fairly clearly. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. I've just got my first glimpse of a little tower sticking out of the water, and that's got to be Dangerous Reef. I'm expecting them about an hour away from there. So yeah, it's good to see some objects again. I'll tell you what, this does feel like an achievement. It's Dangerous Reef. There's only one other group I know that's been out here. That was led by Dave Williamson as a tape trip. So, as far as I know, I'm the first solo visit to this little rocky island. It's actually an extremely special place in a world sense, because it contains one of the top 3 largest breeding colonies of Australian sea lions in the world. Thistle. It's our destination. Can't see where we came, so it actually extends a long way out there. Just breaking waves everywhere, and over there as well. Alright, well, short stop. I enjoyed a refuel and a wee in this calmer water. Now it's the second half of the day. Thistle Island out there. Probably, yeah, another 3 or 4 hours, and Benny, you always tell me you gotta dangle your own carrot. Well, this guy's waiting for me when I get halfway through this leg. Bit of a pick me up. Alright. Look forward to it. Alright. 4.5 hours. Don't really have a drink Coke anymore. It's either going to give me a buzz or a raging headache. But either way. It's a carrot, but it's been dangled, and hopefully it helps. It's got me this far. So probably another hour and a half, really. That's to Snug Cove on Thistle, and then we'll go from there. I think I need to, you know, enjoy the early afternoon, dry everything out, have a wash. That's what we're looking at. See Hopkins Island straight to there, then it's Thistle all the way around. Not too bad. Ah. Cheers. So I thought I'd timed my entry into this Thorny Passage section pretty well with the tide. You know, it's only just started to go out and already I'm getting sucked into the passage. I'm only about a K offshore here. I'll make it. But it's like, oh boy, I nearly just had to go pretty flat out for a while there just to make sure I didn't get sucked down to Hopkins Island. But we'll make it. We're just going to go in there. There's some waves breaking on this beach though, so hopefully it's a bit more sheltered further down. So 6 hours and we've made it to Snug Cove, but in species it's not at all what I was expecting at the moment. That huge storm last weekend has just eroded it so much. It's so steep and I'm at full tide now. It's just nowhere nice to land. If you know me at all, I'm pretty fussy with my camping spots, so just keep going. Find a better one. It was actually very near this spot that Matthew Flinders was anchored with the investigator when he sent some of his men off, you know, to make their way over to the mainland over there in search of fresh water. And there was a strong tide running, and they saw the men returning, and then they lost sight of them, and all their lives were lost. Right in there, and all these little islands out there were named after the crew, and in particular this one, Thistle, who was one of his close friends on the voyage. If you actually look straight out there, I don't know if you can see it, but you can actually see riptides occurring. Tomorrow's going to be the spring tide, which means the strongest tide of the month. And there can be 300 metre to 500 metre riptides through this passage. And what happened with their crew is the tide was ebbing out, but there was a southerly wind coming in, and their boat got swamped and all the men drowned. So hence the name Thorny Passage and Cape Catastrophe. Very nasty piece of water it can be, and that's what I'm going to be looking at, contemplating tomorrow, how to negotiate. At the moment though, I'm on the hunt to find the black-footed rock wallaby. I've seen all their tracks everywhere, and actually a little wallaby similar to the yellow-footed rock wallaby, but black-footed, and they weren't actually endemic to this island. They didn't used to be here. They used to all belong on Pearson Island, a couple of 100 kilometres up the west coast, and these were brought here in 1975 to try and conserve their numbers, and it's done very well. So I have no doubt once I sneak in here that I'll find some of these little critters. They're very cute. No wallabies yet.